if you are not knowledgeable on what's been going on with the Cowboy Bebop situation, it's we got our first look at it, and there's been some people that are not excited for this. Obviously, anime crossing into live action doesn't have the best track record anyway. Netflix adaptations especially, but they're doing it. Cowboy Bebop live action, and once you got the first looks, you saw all the complaints happening with Faye Valentine's actress and her shitting on fans and all of that stuff. But this was a awesome story that was covered, of course, by Bound in the Comics as well. Looking at this, that I wanted to go through. Cowboy Bebop creator Shinichiro Watanabe unsure if Netflix will listen to his feedback on live action adaptation. I have no choice but to pray and hope that it will turn good. So what is this about? I just want to get into the story. Watanabe broached the subject of his involvement in a Netflix upcoming live action adaptation during a 2019, so it's 2 years ago, interview with Japanese pop culture news outlet OtaQuest. Co-founder Taku Takahashi recently brought back to the public attention, courtesy of YouTube hero Hey, in which the two discussed esteemed director's past portfolio and his upcoming projects. So this is an old interview that kind of got brought back up because of what we're dealing with the feedback. In the course of the interview, Takahashi eventually turned to ask Watanabe about his level of involvement with the then recently announced Blade Runner Black Lotus animated series, which listed the director as a creative producer. The work of Carol and Tuesday, his most recent directorial work, was too hectic, and I am loosely involved in the new Blade Runner series, Bitter Smile. Watanabe told Takahashi, I provided my opinions on the early concept, but that's about it. The directors are Kamayama and Aramaki, so I left my expectations with them. Takahashi then asked Watanabe if this arrangement was the same with another one. That's Cowboy Bebop. To which he confirmed, that's right. I read the initial concept and provided my opinions, but I'm not sure if they will ever be reflected in the final product. That has to be an absolute shitty situation. Following up on the director's seemingly lack of confidence in a Netflix adaptation, Takahashi next inquired, as the original creator, how would you feel if you saw in the original scenario pitch and what was broadcasted different? Watanabe replied, that would leave a sour taste in my mouth. However, for example, Watanabe also reasoned with transitioning a manga into anime. If the original author speaks out on various points, it makes the work for the anime staff, and it won't necessarily make it a good product. Concluding his thoughts on the adaptation, Watanabe inserted that's why I have no choice but to pray and hope it will turn out good. As for Cowboy Bebop, I don't have any right to stop it. Those rights are in the hands of Sunrise, so if you have a complaint, please send it to them. So this is what happens and what I'm picking up from that interview. He's asked about basically his involvement as a creative, and his stuff being adapted by other people. And he's giving the feedback, and now he's like hoping and praying that they listen to it. I think there's a lesson to be learned, and I think this isn't something that's unique to American comic books or American creators or American, like, hell, really anything. I've talked about this before. I don't know why the Japanese continue to give their work to other producers who produce live action adaptations that then are dog shit. Like, my thing is, like he mentioned, it's not in his hands. So he might be a creator, but he doesn't own the rights to the characters. This is a mistake that I will never, ever make with comic book stuff. And sometimes, whether it be with the money's enticing or someone paid you to do that, so the rights is going to be left with that company. Look, there's a lot of moving parts in the entertainment sector. This is something that we see in the music industry as well. There's a lot of moving factors. But if nothing else, this is a lesson to be learned that the further you are as a creative from that brand, the more someone else has to fuck it up, right? So it's one thing to, let's say, be brought on to write a character for a already established brand. But if you have something that you've created top to bottom, back in the Cowboy Bebop days, this was not as conducive. But right now, more than ever, you can, at a click of a button, get your stuff out to anybody. There's a lesson to be had here. The industry's caught up now, so we don't have to worry about that. You have crowdfunding efforts and all of that, so people can maintain ownership of their own stuff more than what they ever could before. That doesn't mean there isn't a place for an artist or a writer to specifically write something that's already established. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to be clear about that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you create something top to bottom, and to look at someone else that's going to adapt it, and your feedback on that as the creative is up in the air, meaning they may just fucking blow it off and still create it and may run it into the ground, that's got to be an absolute terrible. It was like the Titans creators. The Titans creator, he talked about this as well. We covered this on the show, where he's he couldn't look at Titans and take it serious because none of the characters looked like how he created them. And I get it. I specifically, I understand that because I'm a creative myself, but that's also a shitty situation to be in, right? Because you're watching someone destroy something essentially that you created. That's not how it was meant. And that doesn't mean that there won't be people that like it. And that also doesn't mean that you can't make adjustments for something that's crossing into a new medium. Okay, this is a comic book adaptation. Now I'm going to have it be a live action. Yeah, there's some changes that you got to kind of that has to happen in order to make it make sense. But in the same respects, is it really worth handing all over the rights to? Because then you're forced, like this guy is, to sit back and just be well, shit, I gave him my feedback. I don't fucking know what's going to happen. I just pray that they don't fuck this up. That's a shitty situation to be in, man.
You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.